Welcome to the May 16th, 2022 Commissioner meeting. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda, Matt Shipman.
Hey, good afternoon. I don't have anything outside of all the items that are on your agenda specifically to talk about. So we can just kind of talk about them as the items come up, if that works. Unless you guys have questions for me.
No, that sounds good. Unless anybody have any questions for that. Okay, let's move into Leslie Blakley from Council on Aging.
So as you know, I have a number of items to discuss today. First, let's jump into the grant application for funding for 2023. And there are 6 different documents that are up for discussion and for signature. First, we have our authorizing resolution, and that is allowing me, on behalf of Council on Aging, to enter into an agreement with NDOT to provide transportation services for Lilly County, public transportation services. Authorizing us to apply on behalf of the commissioners. The commissioners are listed in all of these documents as the applicant. We are the service provider, Council on Aging. It's authorizing us to provide information needed for the application and to execute the grant agreements on behalf of the commissioners. So that's the first. I have a blue pen. Some of these need to be signed in blue ink.
Okay.
So I'll pass that along. And we can, I don't know if you want to do one at a time. You want me to go over everything first?
I think it might be easier to go one at a time.
Of course, that's fine. And I've marked everything where it needs signature or information.
What resolution number have we got here?
The 2022-07.
So I know we've all had a chance to review. Take a motion to approve resolution 2022-07.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-07.
And I'll second.
Motion and second, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay, what's up next?
Next, I have the pass-through agreement. This is naming Council on Aging as the service provider and Whitley County Commissioners as the applicant for federal funding and state funding for rural public transit funding. It's a kind of a lengthy document that just goes over kind of the specifics of the agreement. It does require commissioner signature, attorney signature, and my own signature as well. And the signature is flagged on the last page.
And I'm assuming this is one that we do every year. Matt, did you glance over it
I
to
did.
make sure
I
nothing's
actually
changed?
talked with Leslie about all of these documents for a while today, as well as look through it. This is, you're right, it's something we do every year. This is for the 2023 funding cycle. And to me, I'm comfortable with it and comfortable enough that I'm willing to sign it on behalf of the attorney. So
I'll make a motion to approve the pass-through agreement.
And I will second.
A motion and second, anything further? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that passes unanimously. Doing.
Yeah, that one is up in the
And next,
Next, I have the Federal Transportation Administration certifications and assurances. This just details all of the program requirements and assures that they are being met. Again, this is a document that is signed every year as well and requires commissioner and attorney signature on this.
I'm sorry, which one did you say? I'm
This is
looking at
the FTA certifications and assurances.
Box and stuff.
Yeah. Looks like this.
I don't think we got that.
Oh,
we're
I
not-
have that
we
one.
don't have that one.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that I had sent all 6 of them. I apologize.
Can you explain that to us in
Yeah,
that
I've
you
got
looked it over?
And I did review it, and it is the exact same assurances that we did last year. It basically just outlines the program. These other 2 documents really are the same, is that, like all things with government, they want to make sure that you know the rules and that you every year certify that you're following the rules. That's in essence what these are. But I did review it. I did look through it. It is the same certification that we did last year. And last year there was, in this process, there wasn't a question I had regarding the insurance that, I'm not sure if Leslie was around, but we did kind of tweak the way the insurance worked to make sure that, I think Whitley County Council on Aging got some additional level of insurance that this document required. The language on the insurance matches what we corrected, I think, or made sure we were in compliant with last year. Correction is not the right word. I think we were good either way, but now I think we are. The language is the same, so.
You're able to entertain.
And you absolutely have to have this correct for grants.
I do, yeah.
Okay, and when do you need this signed by?
Well, ideally today, but the applications are due now, so.
Okay. Well, if this is something we pass every single year and our attorneys looked it over. And obviously I don't want to miss out on any grant opportunities. I feel comfortable if our attorney is, and if it's something that we've done every year in order to apply for grants. I don't know if you want to look it over.
I know, Matt, I sent you the copy that was signed last year as well.
Yes, and I did forward that. You guys may not have gotten that, but I did forward that before our meeting to the group, because when Chad and I talked about it this morning, it seemed like maybe there was more paperwork this year. And so I asked Leslie, hey, can you send me what we did last year, just so you guys would have a little assurance that it was the same. Probably didn't see it because it
Yeah,
came
it
in
was, I was in a board meeting this
15
morning, so I
minutes
missed,
before.
yeah.
before the meeting, but most of what it is these certifications are things that you've had to do probably 3 times this year already, for like things that were ADA compliant.
Right.
Things that we've had to do for other programs or community corrections when we've applied for some of those grant funding. The same kind of assurances that the government makes us make, that we're, not selling arms to a ring yet or lobbying appropriately. Possible.
Yeah, that is one that's in there for the vehicles that we purchase. We're not purchasing any vehicles in this application cycle, but it does have a Buy American clause included as well, so.
This is for fiscal year 2022.
23.
This is the
This is for next year's
So these documents say on them fiscal year 2022.
I am aware it was the template that was given to us available through the application process. I'm not sure why that one says 22, but
Okay. Nope.
I double checked. I thought perhaps I pulled the form from last year and I confirmed in the application that it is the forms that were available to us this year.
Okay.
Are you Comfortable.
Comfortable with, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
right. It looks unchanged from last year's document. So I'm comfortable with passing today if that's your wish.
I'd make a motion that we approve the certification as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That passes unanimously. Okay, what's next?
Next, I have the local financial assurances. This document just assures that the Whitley County Commissioners have the capability to carry out the 5311 program, which is the rural transit operating program, and assures that when needed, additional funding will be attained to meet the required local match. So we every year apply for a portion of federal funding, a portion of state funding, and then there's always a local match component that we have to meet as a part of that. So that is what this is talking about, is that we have the ability to meet that local match. And that's something that I work really closely with our treasurer. He prepares our monthly financial statements. He and I sit down every time we create a budget for a transit program or for any budget for our organization, frankly. And he and I walk through it together to ensure that everything is on.
I'll make a motion that we approve the local financial assurances.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that's unanimous as well. And I'll sign your copy. Okay, next.
Next, I have the certification of use of project equipment and facilities. And it's just ensuring that project equipment and facilities will be used in accordance with the terms and conditions of the not capital funding requirements and operating grant requirements. Again, we're not, in this grant cycle, we're not applying for any capital funding for purchases. This is exclusively for operating expenses for the 2023 grant cycle.
I'd make a motion that we approve the certification of use of project equipment and facilities.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That passes unanimously. Okay, what's next?
The last document that I have for the grant application is the special warranty agreement. Really what this explains is that in order to protect the rights of transit employees under any already existing collective bargaining agreements, the continuation of that collective bargaining right, the protection against worsening of their position, and any additional, allowing for their additional employee rights. What I want to point out is that it does not create a collective bargaining agreement when one does not already exist. So this form is just ensuring that if a collective bargaining agreement is already in place, that it is maintained and available. The protections that it allows are available to any transit employee. as you'll see toward the back, the last page is the signature page. But the page prior to that, we have a union rep up at the top listed as NA. And there's no information listed because we are not in a collective bargaining agreement. So,
It basically makes us do this for me.
yeah,
Since you're
that's right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the special warranty arrangement.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote, and all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that's also unanimous. Next.
Okay, the final two documents that I have today are the vouchers, the claim vouchers for us to receive funding to cover our expenses from Q1 of this year. This is separate from everything that we just looked at. You will see the first claim is for ARP money, American Rescue Plan money. And that is a voucher entitling us to the full award of ARP money that was allocated for Whitley County Benefit Program, which was $53,916. And after speaking with Matt, I did provide him with a purchase order, and you're welcome to this, that just allocates the funding sources that are available to us for this year. We obviously have some federal funding available. We have federal funding through the American Rescue Plan and state funding, and it denotes the amounts that are available to us. But I know that there was some question about if this was part of the American Rescue Plan money that was allocated for the commissioners. It is not. This is all funding that comes directly through the Department of Transportation. So this purchase order kind of gives that information in showing that it's directly from the account, excuse me, the accounting department. But the more important piece is where it says bill to, and it's not being billed to the commissioners for payment, it's being billed to the state for payment. Claim that I have is drawing down that entire portion of the American Rescue Plan funding that's available. The remaining portion is for the section 5311. And you'll see kind of in the box at the top that it is drawing our federal funding down by $36,662 and our state funding down by $36,663 for a total of $73,325. And these are the same claim forms that we submit 4 times a year. Funding comes to the commissioners from the Department of Transportation and then on to Whitley County Council on Aging. Correct.
you're just a conduit to the funds that come to Tiffany.
Sure.
You're the pass-through, like the agreement we just signed up pass-through. That's how the funding works.
Heard about this whole program.
Absolutely.
I'll make a motion that we approve the voucher for the 2022 ARP funds.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that passed unanimous.
And I'll make a motion that we approve the rural transit section 5311 funds.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote on that as well. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that is unanimous.
So how's everything going over there besides?
Well,
Good. Okay.
Staffing is the biggest piece for us. We don't have a lot of turnover in our organization in our transit drivers because it's just a part-time position. We are doing much better than many transit operations. A lot of transit operations are down to 5, 6, 7 drivers. We are at 11 drivers right now.
Okay.
So we're still looking to hire additional drivers, but doing really well. Very pleased.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yes.
So in our packet, we also had an amendment 1. Did I miss that? And then I have a Department of Transportation grant agreement.
I think this is the document that Leslie needs to Chad to electronically sign that got sent out.
Oh,
I think,
yes,
so
yes.
I think you need
Thank you. I had,
permission for him to electronically sign.
That's
this
right.
electronic.
so this will be extending the term on a previous contract. Just so it's actually the contract to purchase vehicles. And because of the supply chain issues that we've run into, the delivery of those vehicles have been delayed. So they'll be sending us, once they have the contracts ready, they'll be sending these out for electronic signature. And I just wanted to ensure that you had an opportunity to look at the agreement and that we could discuss it so that once you receive that electronic signature, you have the ability to act on that.
Sure.
And that's for the 2021 equipment purchases that
Correct.
we're still waiting for in mid-2022.
It's,
And that's why they're extending it out,
Yeah.
because you don't,
we just
you know
don't
when they're
know.
gonna.
We keep getting a date and it keeps getting pushed back by 6
It's
months
just
at
a
a
supply
time. and
issue, and
We just don't know
it
now. when
has to
they'll
be
delivered.
closed within the grant term, so they're
Right.
extending the term merely so we can get, is it 1?
I think it's 2. Yes.
So you want us to approve that because it's gonna come out in the timeframe before next meeting?
Before the next meeting. That's my guess. They've not given me a date on when it will come out, but they said they need a quick turnaround
Okay.
with it. So I just wanted to make sure we could present it as soon as possible so that once it is submitted electronically, then you have the opportunity to act on that.
I'll make a motion to allow Chairman Banks to sign the 2021 equipment agreement for Whitley County Transportation.
And I'll second that.
Be identified as amendment.
As amendment 1.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that also passes unanimously.
Thank you so much.
And then if you will email me all of those, thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Katy Fry from our Highway Department.
Hello. The only thing that I really have on the agenda today is I have the notice to bidders available for our community crossings project. If there are specific details about this, I'm more than happy to entertain those questions, but basically it's the same thing as we've done for all the other community crossings where it's just a 2-inch HMA overlay. The specific road names are listed on that cover page of the notice, and as long as I might have the updated copy because I did notice that there was a past addition of the NDOT specifications in here, so I had to change the year for that. And then I also found an additional engineer that I had to change to director. So there's not too much in that other than it's just the specifications of what the bid is, the locations, and then all of the bid documents that need to be included. And I apologize, there was one other additional change. I had to change the bid letting date to June 20th because of the advertising specifications that we have to do for the bid. So it has to be advertised in 2 publications 2 weeks before. So I just need to make time for that.
So that
road that we have to do in city that Marcia and Katy and I are gonna hammer out an MOU. That this meeting I'll have done. Review that because of the shared expense on that. I can't remember what road is that.
It's 200 South, the school road, that is an entrance for multiple campuses there. But we also do have an interlocal agreement with the town of Larwell for 100 North as well. That one was already signed, but I think we reviewed that because it was dated 2021, because that was the original call that this was submitted in, and that call was denied. So if that needs to be reviewed and updated, we can. I guess I can speak to you
That
on
one
that.
had some sewer stuff in it as well. Maybe that's why we.
I don't think the local agreement had anything referring to the sewer. No, it was just for the building.
That has nothing to do with just something for next meeting.
The only other thing that I do feel inclined to bring up to make you all aware of, the original bid that we received, or the original, grant award that we received from NDOT is $806,557.50. This is for a little over 10 miles for community crossings. So our share of that comes to $268,852.50. So it's about $103,000 per mile. And this was originally with estimates that came from numbers that we received from contractors in January. So we've already been told that those numbers, in addition to everything else, are going to escalate. So I put a little bit of wiggle room in the original estimates, but not probably enough. So we are kind of looking at the probable possibility that the numbers for the bids are going to come back for higher than anticipated for the actual total amount of what we anticipated, which was $1,075,410. So I did speak to them about this. And as far as the options that we have, one which I would rather not use is that we can drop off certain segments of road. But in dropping off the segments, then we also lose the funding that we were awarded for that particular segment of road, because everything was estimated and bid in segments. The only other option that we do have is that we will pay 100% of the difference, or any additional over the original estimate that we submitted to NDOT.
That's the better option, what you just said.
We just, and I suppose we'll find out when we actually open the bids in June, but I really don't have an anticipated number for a difference on what it will be until we actually get those numbers from the contractors. So hopefully it's not astronomical, but I am anticipating that it will be more.
I never could figure out why, when we got bids, that there was an escalator clause in them. So, why take a bid if there's an escalator clause?
Yeah.
It's always,
We're looking at that with a lot of our annual bids, but
yeah.
with these bids, the prices are different. They're usually better for this type of project than what they are in annual bids, but I just don't anticipate that at all at this point.
So how would the commissioners like to move forward with the notice to bidders?
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
And I'll second with discussion that we'll probably be able to help with CETA funds to help with the overages that you have. So I would,
Yeah, it's important.
When we think about what the most essential, basic function or duty of government is, roads. I mean, roads are critical. We can't do anything without them. So we'll figure it out, right, Tim? So I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that is unanimous.
How's everything else going? You guys getting caught up with all the potholes from winter?
Yeah, we pretty much got all of the patching done and now is getting preparation, doing all the things necessary for the summer road program. So ditching, berming, getting ready for chip and seal and the paving projects.
Good.
Anything else for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is Scott Smith for a deputy coroner cell phone stipend discussion. I did not see Scott here. But I do know that there is a requirement that department heads come and ask commissioners for approval for that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what he's asking for. And I think it would be the standard rate that everyone receives if they're utilizing their personal phone for work-related duties.
So this is for Scott, or is it
It's
for?
for Randy.
Okay.
I have no problem with it. The coroner's office is quite busy. It's something you don't really think about, but they do use their personal cell phone a lot to take those calls. The reimbursement rate's $30 a month, so I have no problem with it. So I'll make a motion that we approve the cell phone stipend for the deputy coroner cell phone.
And I would second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that's also unanimous. Scott Wagner.
Afternoon, just returning to discuss the sewer exemption ordinance that was tabled from the last time.
So my only question is, and I know we discussed this, but I feel like it wasn't clear to me in the last meeting. So I know with the exemptions, that's gonna put a lot more on you. And obviously, when we grant them or don't grant them, that's liability on the county. So we talked about contracting that out to get that liability off of the county in case something were to happen. Is that something that we're going to do when these get inspected for an exemption or not?
I think that from what Matt was talking about, is we prefer the county stay in it simply because we can keep the better compliance to the law that we're thinking or not.
I think the bigger issue at this point is we only have one. As far as I know, unless it came.
Okay.
One or Scott got one in the last day or two. Last checkpoint I had was one. We had one that maybe really isn't proper, but so we're not talking about a huge amount of liability, a huge amount of work. I mean, it will be some work, but it's not like it's gonna be weeks of stuff. At this point, it's one person and we're 10 days from the deadline. So.
And you're okay with that?
Potentially was
Just
gonna be a
doing it?
big issue if not.
Okay, thank you.
So, but I think it is also important that, that we still do this ordinance. This ordinance is still important because it creates, with this ordinance, I feel like we do not have much exposure from a liability standpoint because there's a uniform set of rules that Scott's gonna follow for every single person. And that's where, as a government, if you start arbitrarily
Sure.
deciding what the rules are, that's where you get exposure and liability. By creating this set of rules and then uniform following them, and by Scott being the one to do it, we'll know that they're uniformly being done as opposed to third party.
That was my only question. I don't have any other questions or concerns on this ordinance.
Ordinance number?
2022-05.
I'd make a motion that we approve the Willie County Sanitary Sewer Ordinance number 2022-05.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And opposed, the same. The ordinance passes unanimously.
So I have a number of other things at Matt's desk with regards to ordinances. I don't know when Matt will be able to do them. You want me to just bring them once a month? I have the lodging ordinance, I have a weights and measures, and a couple changes to existing law.
I should be able to look at them. If you guys are comfortable doing them all at once, I'm comfortable with that. I think it's fun. I'm pretty sure that I will be good and I will be.
As long as we have plenty of time to look at them.
I will look at them in the next couple of days. So you should have 10 plus days. That's enough time. And if not, I don't think any of us are
Not
emergency.
pressing.
So if need be, we could table them, but maybe just to get them on the 6th, I'll get them to you guys with notice. And then if need be, we can.
Yeah, I'm fine with that if we do all the next meeting.
Just an update on COVID. As of last Friday, we were already higher numbers in May than all of April. So there is an uptick in cases. Hospitalizations haven't followed yet on that. Probably just those who are older already have health issues are probably going to be the ones hospitalized. Just to let you know, that's looking around.
Are people doing a lot of testing? Is that what's happening?
The availability of tests, home tests are more prevalent now. The health department's received 5,000 free test kits from the state of Indiana. We have them for families in the county to come pick up. You can get one per person per family if they choose to. Anything else, Jim?
So are these symptomatic? Seeing or?
Yes, we are seeing people losing still their taste and smell again. We are seeing people with a common cold symptoms most likely. Don't see anything too severe in younger populations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda is Nathan Bilger.
Good afternoon. Hopefully you have a copy of the proposed plat already. This was preliminarily approved at the Planning Commission meeting last month. We called it Kiesling Edition. One change that the Planning Commission did note from what you had seen there, which is the as submitted version, is that Block A, which is located down in the southwest corner of Plat, they wanted to make sure that it didn't get lost in the future. So there's a notation that was added that Block A must be sold either with Lot 1 or 2 of the plat or with one of the contiguous lots next to it, so that it just doesn't become a no man's land like we see around the lakes, for example. So the other unusual thing is that we do have 300 West and Buffalo's Road intersecting on this property, which is what creates that triangle. And so you do actually have a portion of the entire full 60-foot width of 300 West actually being dedicated. Again, typically you only see half width, but that little portion in the southwest corner is the full 60. So any questions for me on this?
I'm going to assume that it passed unanimously. Planning Commission. I'll make a motion that we approve the Eric Kiesling edition. That approval.
And I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising the right hand. And that passes unanimously.
A quick update on the solar code. The Planning Commission had a workshop on May 5th, which was dedicated entirely to the solar ordinance. I had presented a discussion initial draft, which yielded a good discussion, some questions raised, some points from the audience. It wasn't really a public meeting or a public hearing, but we did get some input as well. that's progressing along optimistically. Before the end of the summer, we should have stuff really optimistically before that even. Just depends on exactly what questions are yet to come. Any questions for me?
At this time.
Nope, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan.
Teresa, can I get the
The
marker?
pen? Yes.
Is there anyone here to speak about tax sale agreements, which is the next item on our agenda?
He wasn't able to come down, but these are the same agreements that we have every year for the tax sale.
Okay,
Said no increase in price or anything at all. It's the exact same agreement that you guys had last year.
we like it when there's not an increase in price.
I'll make a motion that we approve the tax sale support services addendum.
So are there two agreements here, the
Yeah, there's
the
two.
agreement and then the addendum to that also? So I'll make a motion to approve the addendum as presented.
We have a motion on the floor already.
Second.
So I have a motion to approve the actual agreement, right? Your motion was for the agreement.
I guess it was for all of it, but we have to split it up. The addendum.
You can amend your motion to include both.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to
Yeah.
approve both.
Yeah, I'll accept the amendment.
Is there any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising the right hand. Opposed, the same, and that is unanimous. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Peabody Public Library Board appointment. Is there anyone here?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mary Hardman with Peabody Public Library, and you should have received documents in your packet requesting renewal for the appointment of Greg Hockemeyer His term comes up June 30th of 2022, and we'd like him to serve another 4-year term. So I'm coming to request that you consider reappointing him.
For Doug, that Greg does a phenomenal job.
He's actually really good. We're really lucky to have him.
A reservation about him being reappointed.
I have no issues.
I'd make a motion that we approve Greg Hockemeyer being appointed his third term to the Public Library, Peabody.
It's actually the 4th term, his final term.
Oh, he's just completed.
Yeah.
It'll be the fourth term.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And that passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this signature here.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is payroll and accounts payable claims approval.
I checked payroll and accounts payable, and I had no issues with either one of them. So I'll make a motion that we approve payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That passes unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we approve accounts payable.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Accounts payable passes unanimously. Okay, next item on the agenda is our previous meeting minutes, meeting approval.
I'd make a motion that we approve the May 2nd, 2022 minutes for the county commissioners.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And the minutes passes. I will make note that there was another item on the agenda today. It was the driving and vehicle use policy. That's not yet prepared, so we skipped past that intentionally. Is there anything from anyone in the audience? Is there anything that anyone would like to add today? Okay, Attorney Matt Shipman, anything to add? Not anything else to add. Auditor? Commissioner Trump,
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Basinger.
Yes, so with the ARPA funds, we have to come up with a plan with those as commissioners. And it did take us a while to do that or to even come up with a good idea or plan for those because we wanted to make sure that we were using the funds correctly. So this is a rough idea of what we had discussed, and we will be presenting to council at the next meeting. So as you all know, we're building a new jail. So the old jail, as of now, we're going to be moving community corrections over there because if you are familiar with the current facilities over by Walmart, by Taco Bell, it's just not meeting the current needs. So we are earmarking $3 million to retrofit that and for other various uses. It's not going to solely be for that, but the main use will be for to retrofit the community corrections into the old jail. Infrastructure up to $1 million. Radios for the sheriffs. The current radios, I don't know if anyone's been following, but they are just not meeting the needs for our officers, and that's just something that we're not willing to compromise on our officers' safety, and they're in desperate need of them. So we're earmarking $500,000. And the remaining balance to be used for broadband infrastructure. I don't know if anyone's been following that, but Surf Broadband, they are actively putting fiber on the ground for Columbia City. They're also going to be moving out to Blue Lake, South Whitley, Larwell, and Cherubusco. And some of those, so they're going to be going to the other municipalities. However, some of those real rural areas in the county, there's just no business argument to ever be made for someone to put fiber in. They would never get their money back out. However, with the funds from the American Rescue Plan, we can help get those folks out there better internet because I do know that they are in dire need. So I know that everyone's been really patient, but we wanted to wait for the right opportunity to come along, or if any provider wanted to come and serve quality internet, they could certainly ask for those funds as well if they were a good quality internet provider. But so far, Surf is the only one that's actually made a commitment in the community. And right now they're looking at putting $10 million of their own money into Whitley County. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And I have nothing to add. So at this time, I will adjourn the meeting.